We now have the first 3 teams qualified to the Esports World Cup LAN in August. The Reload Elite Series Qualifier 1 ended yesterday. I'm going to analyse the whole tournament for you in this video. If you're not too familiar with this format, then let me break it down for you. This was the first of 4 qualifiers that we're going to have throughout the year. It's the Reload Elite Series, and the top 3 duos will qualify to the Esports World Cup LAN in August. Now, the top duo yesterday was Shxrk and T3eny. They played incredibly, finishing on 391 points. It feels to me like it's the end of a chapter for Shxrk though. It was only about 6 or so months ago that he failed to qualify for the Global Championship, not making it out of heats and then getting 3 second places in the LCQ round. I had this to say about him at the time. He's probably the biggest prospect in the EU right now, but because of that, people have huge expectations for him, and I think we need to temper that a bit. He's not ready yet. He's not a tier 1 pro, but that's perfectly okay. He doesn't need to be. He's only just turned 14, and I think for his age, he's doing very well. The community needs to relax with Shxrk. He's a very good player, but he's not a tier 1 pro, and we need to just give him time to develop. Nowadays, there are absolutely no doubts that Shxrk is one of the best pros on the EU, and this has been clear for quite a while, to be honest with you, but this result yesterday was the absolute confirmation that we needed, that proves that Shxrk is a tier 1 pro. He is one of the top players on the region, and I think now we can start to take him seriously as a real contender to win FNCS alongside T3eny. And as I say, if you follow EU, then you probably already knew this about Shxrk, but this was the final piece of confirmation that we needed. He has now performed in a big major tournament, and he will be representing himself for the first time at a LAN event in August. Big shout out to T3eny too. He is also someone who failed to make globals last year, but he's been excellent during the off season, proving that hard work pays off with an excellent result yesterday. But yeah, huge credit to Shxrk and T3eny. They were exceptional yesterday. They ended the tournament in style as well, managing to win games 7 and 8 to secure that first place. So huge credit to them. They are going to be such a threat this year. Now let's get into the team that came second and also qualified to the LAN, which was Skye and Scroll. Now, this was the only team that I actually picked to qualify and got right. The other 2 I did get wrong, more on that later. But Skye and Scroll were unbelievably consistent throughout the whole tournament. They managed to win game 3 before coming second in game 4 after being beaten by Tjino and Pablo in the 2v2. And then in game 5 we had the exact same battle again, but they came out on top and managed to win that game. Going into the last 2 games they were in first place. Because of Shxrk and T3eny's back-to-back wins though, they weren't able to hold on to that. But listen, they were remarkable throughout this tournament. Their synergy is so impressive, their cohesion in endgame as well. Skye's always leading, Scroll is always following. They just feel like they're on the same page at all times. I do feel like their chemistry is unmatched by basically anyone in the world, bar maybe Peter Bottom Poyo. They are so good, and most people did expect them to qualify. They delivered. Massive credit to them. Now, let's talk about the final EU team that managed to qualify, which was another Danish duo, Tjino and PabloWingu. Now, I didn't actually pick these guys in my predictions, not because I don't rate them as a duo. I mean, they are incredible fighters. They are so explosive. I just didn't feel like they would qualify because there are a lot of good reload teams in this lobby that I will get into later. But listen, they proved me wrong. They played excellently. PabloWingu in particular was unbelievable throughout this whole tournament. He had a lot of solo clutches. He had the most eliminations out of all the players with 24. He was just on a different level. Like, it was genuinely so impressive the way he was playing, and if he can replicate a performance like that at the Esports World Cup LAN in August, then I mean, they could be potential winners. He was just so good. Pablo's performance was brilliant, but what really led these guys to the 3rd place finish was their consistency. They had the 2nd highest average elims in the whole lobby with 4, but interestingly they didn't get more than 6 elims in a game, but they also didn't get less than 3. So they were just really consistent at that number, not having too many games where they were terrible. Yes, they didn't have games where they hugely popped off, but the consistency was what they needed, and fair play to them for managing that. Whilst some of the duos below them on the leaderboard did have some bigger pop-off games where they dropped a lot more kills, they weren't able to be as consistent, which ultimately cost them the qualification. Credit to Tjino and PabloWingu for having a game plan, having a strategy that allowed them to reach the qualification spots. Now in this video I am fully focusing on the Reload Elite Series, but there is still so much to talk about. We've got loads of new duos on the EU. We had the Eval Cup on Thursday, The Divisional Cup is going to be happening later today. I mean, by the time you watch this, it might have already happened. So all of that I will talk about in my video on Monday. So please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that, because there is a lot to go over. But anyway, let's continue going down the leaderboard. In 4th place, the team that narrowly missed out on qualification was Mumsy and Sato. Now these guys were really good throughout, Mumsy especially hitting some incredible solo clutches, including one to 2nd place. He was, just like Pablo, on a different level yesterday. Mumsy had the 3rd highest eliminations with 18. Sato did put out on Twitter that he didn't feel like it was his best performance. But listen, 4th place is still pretty solid from these two. They were very smart to split Dirty Docks with Shxrk and T3eny. That strategy nearly allowed both teams to qualify. And when we get to my predictions in a minute, you'll see that I did try to apply that same logic, but it didn't quite work out. Anyway, listen, Mumsy and Sato played brilliantly. Credit to them. Unfortunate to miss out, but 3 brilliant teams above them. That's just the way it is in EU, there's so much top talent. In 5th place we had Chap and Flixie. Now these guys were one of my picks to qualify because they've been so good in Reload. They won the PlayStation Cup back in the Simpsons season. They also managed to win 2 out of 3 games in a Victory Cup the other day, so we really do know that they understand the mode, they know how to do well in it. And 5th place isn't a bad performance. Where it went wrong for them was the placements. They just couldn't quite finish high enough in some of the games. They actually did have the highest average eliminations out of all the teams with 4.75, but when you're not quite managing the placements, that's just not enough. They played well, it was certainly far from a bad performance, but they just couldn't quite get over the line to manage that top 3. Make no mistake about it though, this is 100% a team that will qualify to the Esports World Cup LAN. My prediction is that they make it in the next qualifier. In 6th place we had the underrated Dutch duo of Tjino and Mydro. Now nobody predicted these guys in their top 3, if you did then fair play, but I certainly didn't see it. They were definitely an underrated pick coming into the tournament, but they actually managed to win games 1 and 2 to secure 1st place early on in the tournament. So they were doing really well, playing height, looking good. Unfortunately after that they did start to have a lot of teams landing near them. They were getting fought in a lot of the games and it all just kind of fell apart. They still managed to hold 6th place, which is honestly a pretty respectable finish, but they will definitely be thinking about what could have been had they been a little bit more uninterrupted during some of the mid games later on in the tournament. Still a great performance from them, and maybe they can replicate that in some of the future qualifiers. They could still be a team that we see go to the LAN event. Maybe they'll also be thinking that this was a wasted opportunity because it is difficult to make it into that top 20 teams. You have the opens rounds, the play-ins and the heats. It is difficult to get to this point again and to be uncontested in the finals. There's a lot of variables at play. But listen, Tjino and Mydro showed some quality today, and if they continue the way they are, there's no reason why they can't replicate that in the future qualifiers. In 7th place we had one of my honourable mentions from my predictions, which was Darkos and Minori, and honestly these guys finished about where I would have expected. Yes, they are an underrated team, but I could see the signs that they were going to do well. I didn't quite think they had it in them to make the top 3, but they were showing a lot of quality in the build up to this. They looked brilliant in their heats. From the south side of Steamy Stacks, they really made that work, so credit to them, a big performance. In 8th place we had Lucia and Mappy, another team that did look great throughout the tournament. They were on height a lot. Again, not a duo that you'd expect to get in the top 3, and 8th place is pretty solid from them. Now, one duo that a lot of people did expect to qualify was Dam and Demus. They managed a 9th place finish, and honestly they just never quite got going in the tournament. Similarly to Chap and Flixie, kills weren't really a problem, they just couldn't quite manage those high placements. We did actually see Demus have a great individual performance. He had the most damage in the entire lobby. These guys weren't terrible, honestly on a different day I could have seen them finishing higher, but with the expectations we had for them, with a lot of people predicting them to get in the top 3, maybe we would have expected a little bit more. Again, just like Chap and Flixie, I do think this is a team that we will see at the Esports World Cup LAN. I'm sure they'll manage to get through one of the later qualifiers in the year. Rounding out the top 10 we had Wavy and Josh, another underrated team that have been doing really well at Reload lately. Now, let's get into some of the big teams that missed out. My 3rd prediction to qualify for the grand finals was Vico and Malibuca, and unfortunately it just all went wrong for them on the day. After 4 games they were in last place, they just couldn't get off spawn. If you don't know, they were contested at the right side of Slurpy Swamp by iDrop and Marius, and my logic going into the tournament was that there's so much loot at Slurpy, and with the respawn mechanics available, I just didn't feel like the spawn fight would be that much of a hindrance for them. I felt like they could still place highly despite the fact they were contested guessed it. What I didn't predict, and what my friend Coach Frostbite actually pointed out, was that there'd be a lot of solos that would land at Slurpy Swamp in order to farm the free elim points, because obviously one of the duo mates could just land at the normal POI and be safe, whilst the other one could just go to Slurpy Swamp and fight without any risks. This is exactly what happened. We had Sato landing there a bunch of games. I'll put a clip of Vico talking about that now.
Game 2, I'm like, okay, I'm getting 50 up top. I'm getting this gun 100%. I'm 5 MSM settings. I have to get this gun. He takes all the gun, like every gold, mats, everything. And then I look at the name. I'm like, no way, IW Marius took everything from me. It says Sato. And I was like, yeah, of course, bro. What am I going to do against 1 MSM settings, bro?
Yeah,
so
it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Now, despite these issues, they did play a lot better in the last 4 games, but they could only manage a 14th place. Listen, again, just like Darm and Demis, just like Chap and Flixie, this is a duo that we will see at the Esports World Cup. It's just going to be a matter of time until they qualify. Today just wasn't their day. The rest of the leaderboard's up on screen now. You can see all the other big teams that missed out. Idrop and Marius, the other duo involved in that spawn fight at the Slurpy Swamp, not being able to make it. Pink and Haris, who were contesting Acer and Podesai at Boom and Base, neither of those duos could make it. Prism and Casper just seemed to be constantly fighting teams at Fort Crumpet. They just couldn't get left alone. They were actually in 2nd place after 2 games, but it did kind of fall apart for them after that. Just not quite able to make it. And as you can see, a couple of other duos struggled too. Combeck and Pix, a team that I perhaps would have expected to do a little bit better. Yes, they didn't have a great drop spot, but we do know their quality, and 19th place does seem like a low finish. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the tournament. Did you enjoy it? I actually thought it was quite good, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Now, let's talk a bit about the actual format for the Esports World Cup LAN, because we do have some new information about it. The most interesting aspect of it is that we will have match point in finals. Now, if you're not familiar with how match point works, let me try and explain it for you. Basically, there will be a set number of points that a team has to reach. Let's say it's 300. If a team gets to 300 points, then they are then eligible to win. In order to secure the win, they have to get a victory royale. So basically, it's a race to get to the points tally, and then you have to get a win to secure it. It's pretty fun, honestly. It should be good. It's not something that I'd like to see in FNCSs or Globals, but for these kind of one-off events, I'm happy to see fresh new formats. It sounds pretty fun to me. I'm interested to know what you guys think, but I'm down for it. In terms of other news about the format, we now have confirmation about how the multiple days are going to work. We do have 2 qualifiers at the LAN, each with 20 teams. The bottom 3 duos from those qualifiers will get eliminated, which I think is good. That means that teams will take them a bit more seriously, and hopefully we should see a bit less griefing. Let's hope. The top 7 teams from all of those qualifiers will make it through to the finals, so that will be 14 duos qualifying from the first days, and then there will be like a last chance round after that, which should be pretty entertaining. We've known about the LAN qualifiers for a little while now, but I definitely am happy from an EU perspective that we have them, because it means we should be able to get more European duos into the finals. We won't just have a lobby full of teams from the smaller regions, which, whilst I am always happy to see those regions represented on the world stage, often they don't perform that well. So if we want a higher quality caliber of players, you're better off having the European ones. Also, reload customs are now finally a thing. You can practice the Slurp Rush map, which means we should be seeing teams coming out with some interesting strategies in Qualifier 2, which starts very, very soon. Stay tuned for that. Now, before I end the video, I want to talk about the Reddysh Rumble, which was an event that happened after the Reload Elite Series yesterday. This was a Pro-Am format. You had 6 games played, 3 builds, 3 on 0 builds. A bunch of them also involved the Valentine's Day Power Hour, which included crossbows being given to players, as well as self-revives. You had chests that could be only opened by multiple players. You had bubbles where players couldn't shoot in. Basically, it was pretty chaotic. It was a pretty mad tournament, if I'm honest, from what I saw. Predage and Fraantic ended up winning it. Predage, obviously a very passionate player, a very, very good leader and an IGL, so it's no surprise to see him doing well in a tournament like this. And Fraantic is obviously a very, very good player, so, I mean, yeah, no shocks here. I'll play the clip of Predage finding out that he won for you now.
Let's go, Fraantic! Let's go, Fraantic! Let's go, bro! I'm gonna push my woo! Okay, let's go! We're crazy! I mean, let's go!
As I've said many times before, Predage is one of the best entertainers on the EU. His passion for the game is great. Credit to him and Fraantic for winning. But listen, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. I talk about EU news every couple of days to keep you guys up to date on everything that happens in the region. If you want to support me any further, then please consider using code SPUDSON in the Fortnite item shop. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.